When workers for the irrigation system needed accommodations, the CPR built a number of houses. One of these houses was built at the aqueduct for the engineers. The house was 36 by 36, had a 6-foot porch along the front, was framed with 2x6 fir lumber, and used 1-inch boards for the roof and wall sheeting. The inside walls were lined with what was known as V-joint boards, and several layers of building paper was the only insulation used. It had a 4-foot wide hallway going from the front to the back door. On one side of the hall were 2 rooms used as bedrooms, plus an office for the engineers designing the aqueduct. The outside walls were covered in cedar shingles and were painted gray. The trim was white and the roof was black. Once the construction process of the irrigation system was completed, it was time for the men to move on. The buildings were not left unattended, as ditch riders and maintenance workers still needed to oversee the district. After the house was moved to various locations around the district, it found itself empty in the spring of 1933 when the CPR closed the Siksika Ditch Rider Station. Mr. Ed Alberts from Nebraska and his eldest son Sam accompanied a CPR agent in June of 1930 to scout out a new place to call home. They arrived in Brooks and were greeted by Charlie Galbraith, the resident land agent. Charlie took the Alberts for a tour, and the decision to settle in Alberta was chosen. The Alberts returned in August of the same year, this time with the rest of the family. They lived near Millicent for a good portion of a year, and then moved to Brooks. When the sale of the Siksika house came up, Ed bought the house and 20 acres of land with it. There he raised his 3 sons, Sam, Jim, and Ben, along with his daughter Dorothy. The house was a very important part of the community. Teachers often boarded there, and at one point the house had the only telephone in the area. Ed passed away in 1963, and his wife Minnie in 1970. Having lived in the house for 43 years, the Alberts parted ways with it in 1977 when it was donated to the museum, along with all of the furnishings, most of which were wedding presents for Ed and Minnie. It's situated on museum grounds today.